us now is a guy who has been investigating the assassination for decades. His name is Jefferson Morley. He works for Substack now. I read his stuff all the time. Incredible man. He's not some loony conspiracy theorist. And remember, those conspiracy people make a lot of money peddling this stuff. A lot of money. And people believe what they want to believe. So anyway, Mr. Morley, I know you've been looking at some of this stuff. Is there a headline that's been out there?
Yeah, there's a bombshell in these stories. And the emerging story is the CIA surveillance, manipulation, and use of Lee Harvey Oswald for intelligence purposes while President Kennedy was still alive. Now, there's not one document that shows this, but there's about 9 Angleton documents that became public yesterday. And if you read those documents in conjunction with Lee Harvey Oswald's CIA file and documents released in recent years, you see this pattern of malfeasance around CIA operations around Oswald that have never been explained.
All right, let me stop you. Who is James Angleton?
Say that again?
Who is James Angleton?
James Angleton. He was the counterintelligence chief of the CIA, and his testimony emerged yesterday. He testified to congressional authorities in the 1970s, to a couple of committees in closed door testimony. So this executive session testimony has become public for the first time.
What did he say? What exactly did he say?
Documents. I missed your question.
What did Angleton say to the committee?
What Angleton said to the committee was that he had relied on Israeli emigres to build his own intelligence empire. And one of the people who he deployed to monitor and surveil Oswald was probably one of these Israeli agents. It's not clear yet, but it seems like the evidence in this new testimony strongly suggests that Angleton recruited Oswald as a source or a contact. It's indisputable that he kept him under surveillance for 4 years, from 1959 to 1963. These new documents point to an Israeli connection using Israeli agent to monitor Oswald. You know, Bill, Angleton had 180 pages on Lee Harvey Oswald on his desk a week before Kennedy went to Dallas. That fact alone has only emerged in recent years, received no news coverage, and is really an extraordinarily important part of the story. What the new documents raise is, was the CIA atrociously incompetent when it came to the alleged lone gunman? Or was Angleton actually running a counterintelligence operation involving him? Okay. And I believe it's the latter.
So I will answer your questions. I will answer your questions. All right, so Lee Harvey Oswald was a former Marine who defected to the Soviet Union. The Soviet authorities accepted him into the country. He got married to a Russian, learned the language a little bit. The U.S. State Department met with Lee Harvey Oswald and told him not to do it. Oswald did it anyway. Oswald got tired of Russia, went back, petitioned for re-entry to the USA. The State Department let him back, which was unusual. Oswald gets back. He's a ne'er-do-well. He's a miscreant. He can't earn a living. He's abusive to his wife. He beats her up. Then he decides he wants to defect to Cuba. He goes to Mexico City, where the CIA is surveilling the Mexico City embassy because of Castro. They see him. They then go back, and this is where Angleton comes in. So he's on the radar. He's a defector to the Soviet Union. Now he's down trying to get to Cuba. We're going to watch him. They assigned a minder to him in Dallas, Texas. That is where Lee Harvey Oswald settles with Marina. The minder's name is George de Mohrenschildt. You know him. You discussed it. He is the hands-on guy that is monitoring what Lee Harvey Oswald is doing. And I don't know this to be a fact, but it has to be reporting to Angleton, back to Angleton. Yes. It's not an Israeli guy. It's de Mohrenschildt.
There's every reason to believe that George de Mohrenschildt's reporting went up the food chain in the CIA.
There's no doubt it did. Okay.
Yeah.
De Mohrenschildt is teaching college at Bishop. an African-American school, okay? He is an aristocrat. He speaks like 5 languages. His wife is one of these dilettantes, and he's hanging with Lee and Marina, who can barely make a living. There's nothing except for the Russian language, okay?
Right. Yeah.
Oswald kills Kennedy, and there's no doubt he did. He ordered the car
I doubt
down.
that, Bill. I doubt that.
I know.
The forensic evidence doesn't support that.
That's not true. And you and I will never agree. Oswald orders the Carcano. His prints are on the rifle. The shellings in the car match the Carcano. He did it. But again, I respect you. You believe what you want to believe. Okay? Oswald had tried to kill somebody before. He shot a police officer after. It's all documented in my book. And again, people can believe
but you know what else
is
documented, Bill? You know what else is documented? The Dallas doctors who tried to save Kennedy, they unanimously agreed Kennedy had been hit by gunfire from the front.
None of them have appeared. None of them have appeared in public to say that. And if they had, I would have covered it.
That's not true. Dr. Robert McClellan stood at the head of the table looking at Kennedy's head wound, and he describes this in 2 interviews you can find on YouTube. Dr. Robert McClellan was one of the Dallas
CBS?
doctors.
Was that NBC? Was that ABC? Where was that?
No, he sat for an interview with a doctor.
Oh, come on.
And these are on
all of that. If you want to believe it, Jeff, you believe it. I don't. I need hard evidence. If a doctor
he's not a conspiracy theorist. He's an eyewitness.
Well, then why wasn't he on 60 Minutes with Mike Wallace? Okay.
He was very public about what he wanted to do.
No, he didn't go public
because the implications of what he said were so profound.
He never went public.
The New York Times
gone on every. He could have been on with Cronkite. He could have been on with anybody. He didn't do it. All right, and nobody backs him up.
I just urge people to look at the YouTube of Dr. Robert McClellan and decide for themselves.
The key.
We disagree, but people should judge for themselves.
And I applaud that. You will not find anything in the CIA or FBI files that refer to any doctor that disputes that Oswald pulled the trigger. It won't be there. Interesting. Okay. So then DeMorenschildt disappears.
Dr. Robert McClellan was quite clear about.
That's fine. It's not in the files. It was not taken seriously. So DeMorenschildt disappears.
Why wouldn't they take the testimony of a doctor who observed Kennedy's wound from 18 inches away?
Why wouldn't he go public on broadcasts that would have been very happy to take him?
He didn't want publicity.
Oh, he didn't want publicity. Doesn't stack. And let's move ahead now. So DeMorenschildt disappears. All right. Yeah. And I know that because I was in his house, and he's gone. And this is the late 70s. He goes to his daughter's house in Palm Beach, where the congressional investigators, are trying to track him down and interview him, and DeMorenschildt commits suicide. Okay, I'm there. I'm in town. We know what's going on there. We didn't know he was going to do that. We show up to the house. The cops are there, all of that. That has never been explained. His daughter still lives in the USA. Not going to say where. It's not fair to her. I don't want to put her in danger. I don't know what she knows. I know she despises her father. We know that. But we don't know. That is the key. And I'm looking for any George DeMorenschildt stuff coming out of these files. So far, I haven't seen any. Have you?
You know, one of the problems with this release was that the archives did not do what's called OCRing. They didn't make these documents searchable before they posted them. So we're going to do that at the Mary Farrell Foundation, and the website of the Mary Farrell Foundation is maryfarrell.org.
Make me a promise.
And then we can go through and we can put DeMorenschildt in.
Yeah, DeMorenschildt.
I will come back to you with it. Anything DeMorenschildt related.
And Angleton. So if Angleton and DeMorenschildt are corresponding back and forth, that is a key to this mystery.
Yeah,
and that's where we are.
That's where the story is going.
I hope so, because we need to find out everything about it. We absolutely do. Mr. Morley, thanks very much. We really appreciate it. And once again, if you can check out what he says, I don't believe it. And what we have in Killing Kennedy is in stone. Absolute stone. It's all primary stuff. All FBI files, all local Dallas PD files. Couldn't have been altered. There it is. President Trump is trying to fix the economy, but some believe the damage is already done. As the dollar value drops, China's power and gold keep going up. I called American Hartford Gold to diversify with physical precious metals, and you might consider that as well. They will help you secure your savings with physical gold and silver delivered right to your door, or you can set up a tax advantage gold IRA. Plus, it's tax and penalty free to roll over your current 401k or IRA. With billions in precious metals delivered, thousands of five-star ratings, and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, they are the only precious metals dealer I trust. So please call or text American Hartford Gold. Tell them O'Reilly sent you, and you might get $15,000 of free silver on a qualifying order. Call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Again, 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. And joining us now is a guy who knows a lot about the conflict and everything else. His name is Josh Hammer. You might know him. He's the author of the brand new book, Israel and Civilization, The Fate of the Jewish Nation, Destiny of the West, out today. He's also on the First TV, which is our distributor as well. And we're pleased to have him from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Any update on the Gaza stuff that I missed?
Bill, I mean, the ceasefire is obviously over. The IDF is hammering Gaza right now. It seems like they are committed to finally seeing this operation through. My own 2 cents on this is basically as follows. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, and his entire team have made very clear to Netanyahu and the Israelis that you have all the support that you could possibly want right now. Trump has basically said, give them hell, make them pay for it there. He has made very clear that the United States will continue to stand with the Netanyahu government in Israel diplomatically, militarily, in the international fora and so forth there. So to me, Bill, the ball truly is in Netanyahu's court right now. And I am personally very heartened to see that the IDF is returning to the very hard, difficult, albeit wholly necessary work of eradicating the Hamas cancer from Gaza, because there is no solution.
Do you think Hamas ever going to surrender, is ever going to stop? Because I don't think they're ever going to stop. So that means you got to kill them all, right?
So I don't know exactly what the solution is, Bill. I do say, I argue in Israel and Civilization that at a bare minimum, it is incumbent upon the United States and Western civilization at large to convince the Palestinian Arabs that they have lost the century-plus long jihad to eliminate the Jews of Israel. Part of this is psychological, part of this is diplomatic, but you have to actually convince them that they're never actually going to get back this land.
I don't know if that's possible, because they're crazy fanatics. But it was interesting today that Trump linked part of his conversation with Putin to the exact thing you just brought up, that apparently Putin agreed that there wasn't going to be any dissolution of Israel, and that Putin would help prevent that, apparently. I mean, but I know that Trump is emotionally invested in this, and you saw what Trump did to the Houthis in Yemen over the weekend. He's blowing the hell out of them. But, to me, I'm much more optimistic about Ukraine than I am about Gaza. Would I be wrong there?
Look, Donald Trump takes a very different approach to these two conflicts. I personally take a very different approach to these two conflicts because, Bill, I'm a hard-headed foreign policy realist. I look at every hotspot. I look at every conflict around the world, and I basically ask the following question. What is the national interest for the United States in this particular conflict? And based on my answer to the first question, then I ask the second question, which is what, if anything, should we do about it? And I, like President Trump, have a very different answer to these two particular conflicts. It's time for the war in Russia and Ukraine to wind down. This thing's been going on for over 3 years now. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have died. Millions and millions and millions more from Ukraine have fled the country there. Bill, it's going to take Ukraine as a country at least a half century, maybe more than that, to recover from this in terms of getting an economy back, in terms of getting their people back, in terms of giving people hope for the future to start marrying and having children again there. This is part of the reason why I have personally been skeptical of Vladimir Zelensky and his "we will continue this war until we regain every square inch of territory" campaign, because I look at that and I say, at what cost? At what cost?
But it's not even going to happen now because Trump's elected. If Kamala Harris had been elected, then I think Putin would have pushed it. But he knows that Trump's not going to allow that. And he knows America's more powerful than Russia. And he doesn't want a nuclear war over this thing. That's why Putin's giving a little bit. Now, look, I hate to use the cliche, we'll see, because that's what all these idiot television people do because they don't know anything. I know a lot. But I think that there's a framework there where Putin's going to try to walk away and tell his own people, hey, we won. Look, we got Donbass, we got, remote regions or whatever he's going to tell them. But in Gaza, these people are so hateful, I don't ever think they're going to stop. I just don't ever think they're going to stop. And that means that every day, innocent Israeli people are in danger. And innocent Palestinians too, although I don't feel as sorry for them because they should have tried to overthrow these Hamas people rather than cooperating with them. I know it's fearful. I understand all that. I want to play you a montage that my staff put together and get your opinion on this. I believe that the leftist media in America, I believe two things. They don't like Israel in general. They see Israel as a fascist nation. Okay, this is the progressive left in America. And they don't want a ceasefire in Ukraine because Trump would get credit for that. Roll the tape.
One thing is becoming clear now. Mr. Trump admires Mr. Putin. I don't think there's any floor to his subservience to him.
First, there is indeed a lot of land that's different in Ukraine today because Russia illegally invaded a sovereign country. Donald Trump, the American president's suggestion that any of it should be, quote, divided up with Vladimir Putin is an undemocratic, unprecedented hot take from a sitting American president.
Trump's views are completely out of step with the views of most Americans. But on this issue, it appears to me that he does not care much that he is so out of step with Americans. He views himself and Vladimir Putin as sort of bonded in victimhood.
I mean, these people, they're dishonest because they don't have a solution to stopping this Ukraine war. You ask them, well, what's your solution? They don't have one. So that means it goes on and on and on, and the United States just gets billions and billions and billions of dollars over there, and so does the EU. Because you can't let Putin just run wild and take the country over. I mean, that would be, China would love that. The reverberations of that would just be incredible. So these leftist progressives, they hate Trump so much, they would rather see thousands of people die than to support Trump's ceasefire vision. Am I wrong?
Well, Bill, to support a ceasefire would be to give Donald Trump a tremendous diplomatic achievement. So first of all, I think a lot of people on the left simply do not support diplomacy or any kind of off-ramp here because they don't want to give Donald Trump the ability to have a globally recognized diplomacy achievement to his name. I mean, think about the Abraham Accords, thinking of the Middle East topic there. I mean, the Abraham Accords were a transformative, generation-defining peace agreement that Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu were able to broker between Israel and the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan in 2020. In any other generation, any other president, Bill, that would have been a Nobel Peace Prize worthy event here. So I think the left does not want to give Donald Trump a similar opportunity for a Nobel Peace Prize worthy event. Presumably, they would only deny him the prize.
You're so dishonest. Why don't you say that then? Just say that instead of hiding behind all this garbage. Final question for you. You have invested a lot of emotion in Israel, and I respect that. But I don't know, under a guy like Netanyahu, if it can ever be détente. Are you optimistic?
Look, Benjamin Netanyahu is a student of history. This is someone who has done the reading, so to speak, there. I think his moment is now or never. He's the longest serving leader in Israeli history. He has led his whole life, and he has proclaimed that he will never let Iran get a nuclear weapon, that he will never let the Palestinian Arabs commit various acts of jihad. Well, tragically, October 7th did happen under his watch now. And again, Bill, as you and I were saying earlier in the conversation, President Trump has gone all in. He has made extraordinarily clear that Bibi Netanyahu and Israel, the ball is in their court there. So there is really an extraordinarily high amount of pressure on Prime Minister Netanyahu, something that he is quite familiar with, for better or for worse. But he has a lot of pressure on him to actually finish the job in Gaza once and for all. I'm cautiously optimistic that they will do it, but I'm not certain.
We'll add someone. All right, the book is Israel and Civilization, the author Josh Hammer. We wish you very good luck with it, Josh. Thanks for helping us out tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. Last year, investors scored the highest profits in decades. Unfortunately, the rest of us were held back by stacks of bills and credit card debt. Well, Done with Debt has found a solution. They created a brilliant new strategy designed to tackle debt, put cash back into your hands, so you can finally save, invest, and live your life in comfort. Done with Debt goes head-to-head with credit card and loan companies. Their team of negotiators and legal experts work to significantly reduce your bills, eliminate interest, and erase penalties. Bottom line, Done with Debt helps turn crushing debt into financial freedom. But some of their strategies are time sensitive, so please don't wait. Get the life you deserve. Visit donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their strategists, absolutely free. Visit donewithdebt.com. donewithdebt.com. The average American's feeling financial strain more than ever before. Expenses up, but wages are not. So it's no surprise that folks are resorting to credit cards to get by, even if that means carrying high balances and interest rates into the 20s or 30s. If you are a homeowner and stuck in this cycle of mounting debt, you need to call my friends at American Financing. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving homeowners an average of $800 a month. Plus, if you act now, you might be able to skip your next mortgage payment. There are no upfront fees, so it costs nothing to find out how much you could save. It's time to break free from the stress of debt. So please call American Financing today and take control of your financial future. 888-462-9557. 888-462-9557. AmericanFinancing.net. Astronauts. It's another one. It was an amazing landing. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. Within a minute, they have a soft landing in the Gulf of Mexico/America. Okay? And the astronauts are home after 9 months, nearly 10 months. And this is because of Elon Musk's operation, SpaceX. Not the federal government, not Boeing, not NASA, Musk. Did Musk get any credit for that last night? I didn't see any. Maybe on Fox, but no. Musk's the devil. You know that. He's trying to find fraudulent spending. We can't have that. So anyway, compliment to you, Mr. Musk, your operation. And they did work with NASA. Okay. So the astronauts got off in the Gulf. They were flown to Houston, short flight. They're now undergoing a battery of medical tests, and they're hurt. Can't be up in space for 9.5 months and not be hurt. They're hurt, and they'll have to rehab back. Enter former astronaut Scott Kelly. Okay, he's on Fox News. Here's what he says.
Let me say something. I was watching the previous, your previous program, The Five. And they're talking about abandoned and they were stranded by President Biden. That is not true. They have had a spacecraft up there since September that was going to bring them home. They've always had a ride home, and the decision to keep them up there had nothing to do with politics.
What a bunch of bull. Okay, there isn't one statement, not one, from the Biden administration about another spacecraft available to take those astronauts home from the space station. Not one. Not one statement. So where is he getting this? Where? You would think if there was a spaceship up there, that the Biden administration would come out and explain, hey, they're not really stranded. Okay, we got a vehicle to take them down, but we need them there to do some work, X, Y. That never happened. Why? Because it was a phony story. Glad I'm not working it. Because I'd be so angry on those sets, they'd have to fire me with these people. All right, here's what Musk said after the landing. Go.
The astronauts were only supposed to be there for 8 days, and they've been there for almost 10 months. So obviously that doesn't make any sense. SpaceX could have brought the astronauts back after a few months at most, and we made that offer to the Biden administration. It was rejected for political reasons, and that's just a fact.
He's telling the truth. Steve Bannon, you know him, right? A former counselor to Donald Trump. So he's on News Nation with Cuomo last night, right before I appeared with Stephen A. And he says that Trump's might run for a third term. But he can't run for a third term. But, well, roll it.
You're a smart guy. Oh, you know he's term limited. How do you think he gets another term?
We're working on it. I think we'll have a couple of alternatives. Let's say that.
No. Here's the 22nd Amendment. All right, I'll quote it. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. No person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of president more than once. That means the president was assassinated and a vice president served 3. He could not get another term. So that's pretty clear. That's the 22nd Amendment. All right, it's not going to be overturned. So why are we having this discussion? Why? Well, I addressed it. Go. Okay, so that's a fantasy, and I don't really consider those kinds of things. It's not going to happen. Never will happen. It's not worth my time or your time. Donald Trump will serve out his second term. Hopefully he'll be successful, and then J.D. Vance will run for president in 28 unless something happens. That's what's going to happen. There you go. Now, I can't do any more than tell you the truth on both sides. But this goes all over the internet. Everybody did this, and you did that. And okay. If you want to believe that Donald Trump can run for a third term, go ahead, believe it. It's not true. It'll never happen. That's why you watch me and listen to me, I know. Smart life. Okay. Now, this study I don't believe at all. This is from the Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics. It says that 6% of the American labor force, 9 million people, have second jobs in this country. Okay? No. It's got to be 3 times that. It's got to be 18%. Because people don't have any money. And they're working other jobs. But they're not paying taxes on the jobs. Okay? So maybe officially it's 6%, but the Bureau of Labor knows that this is a bogus thing and puts it out anyway. We have an underground economy in America. And Europe is worse. All right? In Europe, you can't even pay with a credit card anymore. They want cash because they don't want to pay taxes. Anyway, that's in a lot of places, not all places. Here in America, I estimate 20% of the working force is making money on the side. And here is a smart life tip. If you need to do that, number one, I'm sorry, because 2 jobs is a burden, particularly if you have children. There are a few ways to do it. And I'm not going to get into the morality of paying taxes because I myself have done work and not paid taxes on the work. Statute of limitations ran out on that. I was a dopey kid, okay? I pay every blanking cent now and half of the last 50 years. All right, so you need money. The easiest way is to drive. Now, if you get an Uber or Lyft or a cab company near you, you have to pay taxes on it, but the tips are free. Okay, they're not going to know what the tips are, and that's where most of these drivers make their money. That's cash. Okay, that's if you can drive an automobile, you can, man, you don't have to drive a lot. Maybe you drive 6-7 hours a week. You can make some cash, and that you need. Number one, if you can paint a house, you can make some good money doing that. People need, and you give them a good price. Tell them, look, I'd like a check made out to cash. I'm probably going to get arrested for telling you this. And they give you, $600 to paint whatever they need painted or whatever it may be. Now, legally, you got to declare it, and then you could be a fixer, a handyman. So there's a guy that runs around my neighborhood. I charge $100 an hour. And then if he only works half an hour, it's $50, okay? And so something goes wrong, he comes in, you pay him cash, and he fixes it. I need that. I don't know about you. So if you can fix stuff, or you can drive, or you can paint, you can make a lot of money. Not a lot of money. I mean, it depends on what you want to work. Now, how do you get that out? In your local paper, you take a little ad, go to handyman, or you sign up with Lyft or the other driving services, or painters, whatever it may be. That's how you do it, smart life. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.